This video will be a note-for-note breakdown of the main guitar solo that enters at roughly 2 minutes and 8 seconds into the song. A tab sheet of the solo will briefly be displayed after the note-by-note analysis. Since both supporting rhythm guitar parts and the bass follow the main riff detailed in the first video of this 3-part series, they will not be further expanded upon in this video. The tuning used in this video and on the record is standard E and 440 wavelength calibration. This solo is going to be 8 full measures in length. We're going to start out by placing the 3rd finger on the B string at the 9th fret. The first 2 notes of the first measure are going to be quarter notes. We'll pick these down on 1 and 2, and we're going to bend the string up a full step in pitch each time we do this, just like this. 1, 2. On 3, we're going to play 4 16th notes counted, 3 E and A. Okay, on 3, we're going to play that same note again by picking it down and bending it up a full step like we have been. On E, we're going to let that note sustain out as we release the bend back to the natural unbent position of the note. On the and beat, we're going to pull off with that 3rd finger to the 1st finger on the same string at the 7th fret. And on the beat, we're going to go with that 3rd finger to the G string on the 9th fret. We'll pick that up. Okay, this is what this is going to sound like. 3 and A. On 4, we're going to play 4 more 16th notes. We're going to place the 1st finger on the B string at the 7th fret. We'll pick that down. On E, the 16th right after 4, we're going to go with that pinky to the G string at the 10th fret. We'll pick that up. The next 2 16th notes are going to be sounded by pulling off. We're going to pull off with that pinky to the middle finger on the same string at the 8th fret. That's the and beat. For the beat, we're going to pull off with the middle finger to the 1st finger on that same string at the 7th fret. Here's what these last 4 16th notes are going to sound like. 4 E and A. Okay, with the 4 count lead in, here's what your first measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and a 4 E and A. And now we have reached the 2nd measure. We're going to begin by playing 4 more 16th notes counted 1 E and A. The first will be with the pinky on the G string at the 9th fret. This will be picked down. For the E beat, we're going to go to the 3rd finger on the D string at the 9th fret. We're going to pick that up. On the and beat, we're going to go to the 1st finger on the G string at the 7th fret. We'll pick that down. And on the beat, we're going to hammer on with the middle finger to that same string at the 8th fret. Okay, here's what the first 4 notes are going to sound like. 1 E and A. Now we've reached 2. What we're going to do is place that 3rd finger on the D string at the 9th fret. We're going to play 3 notes here, counted 2 E and. The first 2 are 16th notes and the last is an 8th. We pick down, up, down just like this. 2 E and. Okay, that last 8th note is going to sustain out as it's tied to a quarter note on 3 and then to another 8th note on 4. In short, it's going to ring out for half a beat or half a measure. To finish up the measure, we're going to shift down to the 4th fret on that same string with the 1st finger. We're going to pick this as a 16th note down on the and beat. Then we're going to hammer on to the same string at the 6th fret with the 3rd finger. That's another 16th note. With the 4 count lead in, here's what the 2nd measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E and A, 2 E and 3, 4 and A. With the 4 count lead in, let's run through the first 2 measures in sequence just one time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and 3, 4 and a. And now we have reached the third measure. We're going to begin by playing 2/8 notes, counted 1 and pick down, then up. Okay, the first one is going to be staccato, which means choppy. We're not going to let it ring out smoothly. We're just going to release the pressure on the string slightly to dampen it out after we pick it. And it'll sound kind of like this. 1 and, almost as if there was a little bit of a rest after it. On 2, we're going to play 4 more 16th notes, counted 2 and a. Okay, we're going to go with the pinky on that same string to the 7th fret. We're going to pick that down on 2. We'll pull off to the first finger, which is still on the same string at the 4th fret. That's the E beat. On the and beat, we're going to take that 3rd finger and go to the D string at the 6th fret. We'll pick it down. And on the beat, we're going to go back to the 1st finger on the G string at the 4th fret. That'll be picked upwards. Here's what the last 4 notes are going to sound like. 2 and a. On 3, we have a 16th note rest. On E, the 16th right after 3, we're going to play that same note, but we're going to pick it upwards. Okay, this is a dotted 8th note, which is worth 3/16 of the measure. And that's also tied to an 8th note on 4. So to finish up this measure, we're going to play 2 16th notes, counted and a, and that will be with the 1st finger going to the D string on the 4th fret. We'll pick that up. And we're going to hammer on with the 3rd finger to the same string at the 6th fret. That's the beat. With the 4 count lead in, here's what the 3rd measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and a 3, E, 4 and a. And now we have reached the 4th measure. We're going to begin by placing the 1st finger on the G string at the 4th fret. We'll pick this down on 1 and let it ring out as a 16th note. On E, the 16th right after 1, we're going to go to the D string with the 3rd finger on the 6th fret and pick that up. This rings out as another 16th note. And on the and beat, we're going to go with the pinky to the G string at the 7th fret. We'll pick this down. This will ring out as an 8th note. These first 3 notes are counted 1 and, pick down, up, down, just like this. 1 and. On 2, we're going to play 4 more 16th notes, counted 2 and a. On 2, we're going to take that 3rd finger and go to the 6th fret on the G string. We'll pick that down. On the E beat, we're going to pull off to the 1st finger on that same string at the 4th fret. On the and beat, we're going to go to the D string with that 3rd finger on the 6th fret. We'll pick it down. And on the beat, we're going to go back to the 1st finger on the G string at the 4th fret. Here's what these last 4 notes are going to sound like. 2 and a. Okay, this last 16th note is actually going to be tied to a half note on 3, which will ring out for the rest of the measure. With a 4 count lead in, here's what the 4th measure will sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and a 3, 4. With a 4 count lead in, let's run through the 3rd and 4th measures in sequence just one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and a 3, E, 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3, 4. Let's run through the first 4 measures in sequence just one time. I won't count this aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4 count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we have reached the 5th measure. We're going to begin by placing the 3rd finger on the B string at the 9th fret. The first note will be a quarter note. We'll pick this down on 1 and bend the note up a full step in pitch as we do it. On 2, we're going to do 4 more 16th notes, counted 2 and a. We're going to pick that same note again, down on 2, bend it up a full step and pitch as we do it. On the E beat, which is the 16th note right after 2, we're going to let that sustain out as we release the bend back to the natural unbent position of the note. On the and beat, we're going to pull off to the first finger on that same string at the 7th fret. And on the beat, we're going to go with that third finger to the 10th fret. On the same string, we'll pick it up. We're also going to bend it up a full step as we do it. Here's what the first half of the 5th measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, and a. Okay, that last note is actually going to be tied to another 16th note on 3. In short, it's going to ring out for an 1/8 of a beat. We're not going to count 3 in the count. If you're tapping your foot, it's still there. It's just easier to count it this way. Okay, on the E beat after 3, we're going to pick that same note again upwards. And we're going to bend it a full step and pitch as we do it. This is going to be tied to an 1/8 note on 4. In short, this will ring out for a 1/4 note. And to finish up the measure, we're going to do 2 16th notes counted and a. We'll take the middle finger and place it on the G string at the 9th fret. We'll pick this up. That's the and beat. And on the beat, we're going to slide to the 13th fret on that same string with your middle finger. With the 4 count lead in, here's what the 5th measure will sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4, and a. And now we have reached the 6th measure. We're going to begin by playing 4 16th notes on 1, counted 1 and a. On the first beat, we're going to place the first finger on the B string at the 12th fret. We'll pick that down. On E, we're going to hammer on with the third finger to that same string on the 14th fret. On the and beat, we're going to pull off back to the first finger on the B string at the 12th fret. On the beat, we're going to go with the middle finger to the G string on the 13th fret. We'll pick that up. The first 4 notes are going to sound like this. 1 and a. Okay, now we've reached 2. We're going to do 4 more 16th notes, counted 2 and a. We're going to place the pinky on the B string at the 15th fret. We'll pick this down on 2. We're going to pull off on E to the first finger, which is still on the B string at the 12th fret. On the and beat, we're going to go with the third finger to the G string at the 14th fret. We're going to pick that down. And on the beat, we're going to go back to the first finger, which is still on the B string at the 12th fret. We'll pick that up. These last 4 notes are going to sound like this. 2 and a. Okay, the last 16th note we played is actually tied to a half note on 3, which will ring out for the rest of that measure through 3 and 4. So with the 4 count lead in, here's what measure 6 will sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3, 4. With the 4 count lead in, let's run through measures 5 and 6 in sequence just one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and a, E4 and a 1 and a, 2 and a, 3, 4. And now we have reached the 7th measure. We'll begin by placing the middle finger on the B string at the 17th fret. The first note will be a 1/4 note. We're going to pick this down on 1 and bend the string up a full step and pitch as we do it. We're going to hold the string in this position for the next half of the measure through the 2 and 3 beats. What we're going to do then is place the third finger on the high E string right below the middle finger on that same 17th fret. The next 6 notes are going to be triplets, counted 2 and a, 3 and a. We're going to pick down, up, down, up, down, up, toggling back and forth between the two strings. Okay, here's what we have so far for the 7th measure. 1, 2 and a, 3 and a. Okay, at this point what we're going to do is we're going to play 2 more 8th notes to finish the measure. We'll pick the high E string again down on 4, and to finish up the measure we're going to pick the B string upwards with the middle finger still on the 17th fret. But this time the note is in its natural unbent position. With the 4-count lead in, here's what the 7th measure will sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and. And now we have reached the 8th measure. The middle finger should still be on the B string at the 17th fret, and this note should still be ringing out because we played it on the last 8th note of the previous measure. What we're going to do now, without picking it a second time, we're going to bend it up a full step and pitch on 1 and let it ring out as a quarter note. On 2, we're going to go back to the natural unbent position of the note. We're not going to let it sustain out as we go there. We're going to play 4 more 16th notes counted 2 E and a. Okay, on 2, we'll pick that note again and bend it up a step and pitch as we do it. On the E beat, we're going to let the note sustain out as we release the bend back to the natural unbent position of the note. On the and beat, we're going to pull off to the first finger on that same string at the 15th fret. And on the beat, we're going to take that middle finger and go to the high E string at the 17th fret. We're going to pick this up and we're going to bend it a step and pitch as we do it. This note will be tied to a half note, which will ring out for the rest of the measure. With the 4-count lead in, here's what this is going to sound like. And what I'm going to do is add the last 8th note of the previous measure to the lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2 and a, 3, 4. With the 4-count lead in, let's run through measures 7 and 8 in sequence just one time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and 1, 2 and a, 3, 4. Let's run through measures 5 through 8 just one time in sequence. I won't count aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's run through the entire solo just one time. I won't count this aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. The only thing out of the ordinary to take notice of here is the yellow highlight that's on the 3rd measure. Notice that there's a dot below the 8th note that starts to measure. That's what signals staccato. If the note was upside down, the dot would be above it. Don't confuse that for a dot beside the note. If there was a dot beside the note, that would be time and a half. The staccato just means to play it sharp and abrupt, instead of playing it smooth or legato.